The full moon in Gemini on Thursday, December 4th brings powerful karmic shifts as it squares the south and north nodes of the moon. In this video, I will take a closer look and break it down for all 12 signs. My name is Anastasia. I am a traditional Hellenistic astrologer specializing in natal relationship predictive readings. I am a teaching astrologer as well. My next course begins in March. Check out my website for that. If you're new to my channel, welcome. Thank you for stopping by. Please stick around. And if you enjoy my work, show your support by leaving me a like, a comment, subscribing, and pressing the notification bell. Please hype my video. This actually is a pretty recent tool. You can find it at the bottom of the video, and it helps push my content forward, helps me grow. You can also say thank you by buying me a tea, a coffee. You can work with me by booking a reading at anastasiadoesastrology.com. My year ahead readings are currently on a special promo sale. You can save $20 on the in-person consultation in my services by using the coupon code 2026. Or you can save $40 on the recorded reading in the shop section of my website. It's already discounted, so find it in the shop. On my website, you can also join the upcoming predictive course. It's designed to teach you how to forecast the future with the use of solar returns, annual perfections, and transits, and it can set you up for success. Pick up my 2026 planner. I have so many things that I'm doing and I'm excited about. I designed this one. This is the third one I've made, and it contains 227 pages filled with insights about astrology. It can teach you astrology. It can help you see what's coming up each month, set yourself with to-do lists, ritual suggestions. Every lunation has a breakdown. There are positive dates for love, challenging dates, so much more. It's a really helpful tool. I've been using it. I created it to help myself, and I know it can help you. And finally, my exalted moon candle captures the moon in Taurus. It is the most stable lunar sign. It's exalted for a reason, because Taurus has the groundedness and the fixed quality that the moon really likes. It is powerful for manifestation, abundance, financial success, and creating pleasure and stability in your life. Moon in Taurus, people who are born with it are the best at manifestation. And if you want to boost your manifestation abilities, get this one, especially if you're born with the moon in Capricorn or Scorpio, signs of fall and detriment. If your moon is conjunct Saturn, if it's in the 6th, 8th, or 12th houses, this is the choice. So today we're talking about the full moon in Gemini. It happens on Thursday, December 4th at 6:13 p.m. Eastern, so adjusted for your time zone. And it occurs at about 13 degrees, 3 minutes Gemini, which means 3 degrees before, 3 degrees after is our red zone. And if you have planets, angles, your nodes between 10 and 16 degrees Gemini, I would also include Sagittarius, Virgo, and Pisces, the other mutable signs. This full moon will be really important for you. For everyone, look back at May 26th when we had the new moon in Gemini, because this full moon completes that chapter and potentially will be reminiscent and will remind you of what was happening in late May. So in late May, we had a new moon in Gemini, which could have heralded new beginnings, a new idea that came into your mind, a new intellectual writing, communication project that maybe you launched or considered launching, maybe a new work project that you got started on, maybe you made a new connection, right? Something is ripening. And this is a very powerful karmic full moon because it squares the lunar nodes. The north node is currently at about 13 degrees Pisces, and the south node is, let me actually give you the exact degree for this. So the north node is at about 1346 degrees Pisces, and the south node is at about 1346 degrees Virgo. So the full moon is pretty exactly square to those nodes. And when planets square the nodes, yeah, it's crazy because the full moon is happening at like 13:03 and the nodes are at 13:46. So they're less than a degree apart during this full moon. So when planets square the nodes, there is a sense of karmic entanglement. And with the north node being in Pisces, south node being in Virgo, we are looking at a need to release control. And we're looking at a need to open ourselves up to something bigger, right? The north node being in Pisces, north node tends to be a lot more materially driven. It's hungry for actual manifestation and for change. So with this full moon, it's a very mental full moon. The energy can be very active at this time. There may be a lot of thoughts, a lot of interactions, a lot of conversation. Watch out that you're not just talking for the sake of talking. Watch out that you're not drowning these karmic lessons that might be coming through for you. So I think with Pisces, north node being in Pisces, and north node being ruled by Jupiter and south node being ruled by Mercury and the full moon being ruled by Mercury, we're trying to find balance between this monkey mind that is very mercurial, that is especially Gemini, right? Like, what's the next thing? What's the next adventure? What else I can distract myself with? And the north node in Pisces that is about sitting still and connecting with ourselves and integrating and processing and then perhaps dreaming things up that involve the world at large, that create more coherence and stability. So my question to you is, what can you let go of? Starting with your thoughts and ending with actual, maybe physical things, right? Like letting go of an old computer, letting go, she said, as she's looking at her old iMac that has been barely working. Letting go of some kind of belief that you have that doesn't serve you. Maybe making room for stillness in your schedule, right? Like some type of like endings need to happen. And I think I'm very much picturing this image of like sitting down to still your monkey brain and to find the truth. But do reflect on late May and share with me in the comments below if you remember what was happening for you. We are going to take a look at the 12 zodiac signs through the same lens to see what this might be activating for you. What's interesting is the ruler of this full moon is Mercury. And Mercury has just finished its retrograde like 5 days, right? 5 or 6 days before this full moon. So Mercury is fresh from its journey into the underworld, from its conjunction with the sun, and it's starting to, pick up speed. And with Scorpio, we're also looking at the truth and Mercury, not just Mercury's in Scorpio, but it's actually forming the final grand water trine with Jupiter and Saturn. We've had a bunch of these between October and November. And the last one happens in early December. So I think the focus is very much on integration, the focus on getting rid of the clutter and finding the truth underneath it all. Before we look at the 12 signs, visit my website, take advantage of the year ahead sale, save $20 with the coupon code 2026 on the in-person reading or $40 by getting the recorded reading to get your personalized 2026 horoscope. It includes the PDF file, chronologically breaking down everything that's coming up for you, and a video recording or an in-person consultation in which we talk about themes and most important energies that you need to know. Sign up for my predictive astrology course. It begins in March. You don't want to miss it. It will teach you how to use techniques like annual perfections, transits, and solar return to forecast your future, and pick up my creations such as Exalted Moon Candle, Almond Moon Candle, as well as similar and really great Moon in Cancer, and my 2026 planner. Okay, let's start with Aries rising. If you are an Aries rising, there's a full moon in your 3rd house, and it squares the north node in the 12th, while the ruler is Mercury in the 8th. So the full moon in the 3rd brings attention to your schedule, your communication, your commute, your siblings, your neighbors, your business, your skills and hobbies, right? And take a look back at late May when we had a new moon in Gemini, because the full moon in Gemini in December can bring a completion to a writing project. It can bring a change to your schedule. It can maybe encourage you to graduate. Maybe you're completing some kind of shorter term of study, rethinking your day to day and letting things go. You're decluttering, right? With North Node in your 12th house, the focus is on stilling the focus is on kind of reprioritizing and moving away from being too involved in the world and the sort of blood, sweat, and tears of the 6th house. You're actually going into spiritual realm. You're shedding things, you're letting things go, right? Some of you are moving, some of you are changing careers. And so the full moon in the 3rd is really all about what needs to be released, what needs to be decluttered, how your day-to-day needs to transform to welcome new possibilities that are introduced by the sun in the 9th house. What do you need to wrap up? And changes may even involve where you live, right? Because 3rd house represents neighborhood and neighbors. So a very interesting full moon with the ruler being Mercury in the 8th to, I think, suggest that your relationships are changing, your agreements are changing. And similarly to the North Node in the 12th, Mercury in the 8th to me suggests that there is a search for deeper meaning, a search for something truthful within you. So the full moon in the 3rd can even be like, oh, I've had 2 courses going on. One of them is for programming and another one is for astrology, and I actually feel like I'm resonating a lot more with astrology because that will let me connect with my inner truth and understand myself and do work that helps others. And if you are someone interested in astrology, join my predictive astrology course. It begins in March 2026 and it will set you up for success by teaching you how to read charts. You can also get a predictive reading on my website. My 2026 year ahead readings are currently discounted. Information is in the description. If you are a Taurus rising, there's a full moon in your 2nd house and a square to the North Node in the 11th, and South Node is in the 5th, and the ruler is Mercury in the 7th. Take a look back at late May when we had the new moon in your 2nd house. Especially in regards to money, values, priorities. The full moon can indicate karmic shifts in this sector, especially with the North Node in the 11th and a square to the full moon. North Node in the 11th is inspiring you to explore new dreams and to connect with the collective, to work with other people, to trust in other people, and to use your affluence, your resources, your knowledge to improve their lives somehow and have a purpose besides that is just connected to you. So the full moon in the 2nd could be a sign of a career shift because 2nd house represents your money and values. So there may be changes around your income. Maybe you're getting a raise, maybe you're quitting your job. There may be changes at work as you're choosing work that is perhaps more connected to others. Priorities, for sure, like a shift in terms of what you're doing, a shift in terms of how you're doing things. The ruler is Mercury in the 7th. So again, we kind of have this strong focus on other people and relating with other people. So I wonder for you, Taurus risings, like, where do you need to let go and where do you need to commit to maybe new relationships and new partnerships? Because it's an interesting one. It can almost be like buying a property with your significant other, right? And using that property to maybe teach yoga. This is very, very like literal, right? Like you're investing into something and you're taking a risk and working on like trusting that things will pay off and like that you can maybe go forward with a new kind of agreement or relationship. Or maybe you're just starting a podcast with a friend and you're opening yourself up to new possibilities and new streams of income. If you're seeking more advice and guidance, check out my sale on the year ahead reading. You can save $20 on the in-person or $40 on the recorded reading. Information in the description. And join my predictive astrology course. It begins in March 2026, and I will teach you how to forecast the future and how to use techniques like solar returns, annual perfections, transits to set yourself up for success. If you are a Gemini rising, there's a full moon in your first house, your house of identity. What was happening involving your health, your dreams, your style, your sense of self in late May when we had a new moon in Gemini? Right now, you're kind of coming full circle and you're embracing more self-awareness, especially in regards to your work, in regards to your health and habits, your routines, especially as Mercury just finished its retrograde and rules this full moon out of your 6th house. So a sense of increased self-awareness may lead you to say no to something. And I wonder if it's perhaps your job, because there is a square to the North Node in the 10th. And North Node in the 10th is really urging you to find work that is spiritual, that is soulful, that is, what's the good word? Coherent with who you are and symbiotic with who you are. Work that creates balance in your life, because you are a full human being, right? You are influenced by your thoughts, by your encounters, by the job that you're doing. So the full moon in the first is this very personal opportunity, and it can involve multiple spheres of your life. For some, it could be work. For others, it could be where you live. For someone else, it could be about your health or your child. But it's deeply, deeply personal, and I think the goal is to create more kind of balance in your life, more coherence between different parts of your life, and it starts within. And so the full moon is inviting you to be like, what is it that I want? What is it that's important to me? But changes around health, changes around work, changes around appearance and personal projects, all of that is quite possible. Do share how this resonates. Have you noticed all of these questions being active perhaps in November as we dealt with the Mercury retrograde in your 6th house? For more, visit my website. Take advantage of the year ahead sale I'm running. Information in the description. And join my predictive astrology course. It begins in March 2026. If you are a Cancer rising, there's a full moon in your 12th house and a square to North Node in the 9th, South Node in the 3rd, and the ruler is Mercury in your 5th house. So the full moon in the 12th looks back at the new moon in your 12th house in late May. First question, what was happening in your life in late May? 12th house is the house of blind spots, and it's the house of self-defeating tendencies. When the 12th house gets illuminated, it's like turning the light bulb in your dark cellar and seeing that there is a rat king there. Hopefully not. But there could be some type of understanding of yourself. Understanding of your self-limiting beliefs, of your self-doubts. Perhaps you have been believing that you cannot find a job, right? You believe that you cannot find the job, or you believe that your love life is done for. But then something happens and it maybe makes you question that, or it makes you question what you're telling yourself. So the full moon in the 12th in this mental sign of Gemini, right, is very much about what is that inner voice telling you, and how can you rethink what you're saying to yourself, especially with the North Node in your 9th house. Like North Node in the 9th really wants you to prioritize growth and spirituality and optimism and expansion. And the ruler is Mercury in the 5th, which kind of has similar themes. Mercury in the 5th wants you to have fun. It wants you to date. It wants you to create. It wants you to smile more. So what needs to be released? And some of it really is coming through to me as like thoughts and beliefs that are not serving you. I'm curious to hear what you think. If you're seeking more, if you want astrology to help you book my year ahead reading, it is currently on sale. You can save $20 with the coupon code 2026 on the in-person one, or save $40 on the recorded reading. It's already discounted in the shop. And join my predictive astrology course. Take your love for astrology to the next level. Level it up. If you are a Leo rising, there's a full moon in your 11th house. It completes the chapter started in late May with a new moon in your 11th house. And it brings changes in your group projects you may be completing. Let's say you started a podcast with a friend and now you're moving it to the next level, or you feel ready for some kind of change. You're maybe transforming your friendships, having a conversation with a friend and realizing whether the relationship is worth keeping. There are powerful opportunities for more intimacy and karmic release here as the full moon squares the nodes in your 2nd and 8th houses. So it's almost like go into these uncomfortable conversations and talk about things, maybe discuss your childhood or discuss what's important to you, as the ruler of the moon, of this full moon, is Mercury in the deep, passionate sign of Scorpio in your 4th house, right? Mercury really has been doing a lot of introspection and encouraging a lot of healing, a lot of growth and processing. And so the full moon in the 11th, I think, is making you wonder who's in your corner. Are you associating with people who have your best interest at heart? And for sometimes it might just be a sign like, this person just takes from you and never pays you back or never returns any favors. And maybe it's time to release those friendships. And sometimes it might just be a question of like adjustment and deciding to just spend less time and set some boundaries with a relationship. The same applies to your social media, how much time you spend on social media, your social engagements, things you do in general. Like, let's say you've been going out to a bar every Friday night and you just decide that, yeah, I kind of don't feel like that anymore. It's no longer bringing me joy. So transformations in your collective life, maybe even change in terms of how you get involved with other people. Sometimes the full moon in the 11th may activate your desire to be of service to other people. Do share if you're seeking more. Book a reading on my website. My year ahead is currently discounted. Information in the description. And you can also join my predictive astrology course, which begins in March 2026. For the beautiful Virgo rising, there's a full moon in your 10th house, your house of career, status, reputation, in a square to the nodes in your 1st and the 7th houses. So there is an interesting energy going on, and the ruler is, of course, Mercury in the 3rd. So Mercury has just finished its retrograde. It maybe has brought you some insights about your skills, about your passions, even insights about your schedule, some realization of what is working, what is not working, what you want to be doing. And so the full moon in the 10th, number one, completes a chapter started in late May. So reflect on what was going on in your career in late May. Number two, it offers opportunities for change and karmic shifts in your career sector. So for some, it will be a chance to level up and get promoted, get a raise, get a status change, title shift. I'm like, what do people do who have regular jobs? But even people who don't have regular jobs like me can also get some kind of status change. So some type of transformation professionally, right? Maybe you're changing directions. Maybe you're quitting a job and going into a brand new direction. Maybe you're starting a business. Maybe you're starting a side hustle, or you've had a side hustle and you decide to let it go. You're maybe streamlining, right? The full moons often tend to be about release and change and letting things go. The square to the nodes in the 7th are interesting because there is a suggestion that your work needs to be more aligned with your romantic life and your personal goals. And maybe it's not presently, and maybe there's a little bit of friction there. But North Node in the 7th is very much directing you towards building soulful partnerships, finding a sense of connection. And so again, it could be about professional partnerships or personal partnerships, right? Like maybe you need to adjust your work life to better fit with what you're trying to create in your love life. Do share, my beautiful Virgo rising. If you're seeking more, take advantage of my year ahead sale and save on your predictive reading, predictive forecast, or learn to forecast the future by joining my predictive astrology course. It begins in March 2026. For my lovely Libra risings, there's a full moon in your 9th house in a square to North Node in the 6th, ruled by Mercury in the 2nd. So Mercury has been retrograding from your 3rd into the 2nd houses. It's done now. It is full of insights about your self-worth, about your knowledge, about your skills, about your money. And the full moon in the 9th suggests that out of this knowledge, something beautiful may come. So first of all, the full moon also completes chapters started in late May. So reflect on that. Maybe you started a class around then. Maybe you began teaching. Maybe you began writing. Maybe you've started planning a trip. So the full moon can bring transformations in that regard, right? Finishing the writing project, finishing the course that you've been taking, finishing teaching. I am a Libra rising and I'm almost done teaching my first level 1 natal astrology class. Level 2 begins in March. So if you want to join us, come study how to forecast your future and learn all about predictive astrology. So changes in terms of your mindset. 9th house is sometimes can be very spiritual. 9th house can be very philosophical, right? So certain beliefs that you've held about yourself might change. Maybe you felt like maybe you've had some beliefs around your age and you felt like it's too late to start a new career. Maybe you've had beliefs about money, thinking that you can't run a business because you need stability financially. So some change in terms of your beliefs might be happening, especially with that square to the nodes in the 6th and 12th houses too. Like North Node in the 6th, I think is urging you to do work that is spiritual, soulful, and maybe more joyful than what you've been doing. The full moon, so other than spiritual transformations, there could be changes in terms of what you're writing, changes in terms of your beliefs, which is, I guess, more philosophical, changes like trips and education and even some legal matters maybe wrapping up for you. But I keep thinking about this as like a very philosophical full moon. But with the ruler being Mercury in the 2nd, I think some of your questioning might be like, okay, what else do I need to learn in order to be top 5 people in my field? What else do I need to invest into? What other journey do I need to go on in order to accomplish my goals? And they don't need to be only professional, but they can be. For more to study with me, to figure out what's coming up for you in the year ahead, I am doing a sale on the year ahead readings. Visit my website and pick up a lovely exalted moon candle as well, or anything else like my 2026 planner. Everything is on my website. If you are a Scorpio rising, there's a full moon in your 8th house, ruled by Mercury in the 1st, in the square to North Node in the 5th, South Node in the 11th. So the full moon in the 8th completes the chapter started in late May. And take a look back, we had a new moon in your 8th house around that time. The full moon brings karmic shifts and karmic changes in your partnerships, in your agreements with other people. There may be a shift in finances of your partner or of your joint partnership, your joint account. There may be a need to pay off some debts, right? Like repayment of some debts, rethinking of your involvement with other people. Full moon in the 8th can either liberate you from something that maybe feels exhausting and unnecessary financially, personally, or it can encourage you to recommit to it, right? Like the full moon in the 8th can be, I see now that I need to be more honest in this relationship, and so I'm going to commit to building this new partnership, right? It's, yeah, all of the kind of like agreements, give and take, financial exchanges, all of those come under review. The square to the North Node in the 5th suggests that you're maybe looking at becoming a parent. You're maybe looking at spending more time with your child. You're maybe very invested in what's happening in the life of your child right now. So the changes in agreements may be connected to, let's say you're about to become a parent and you and your spouse are discussing how much, how much weight financially they're going to take while you're staying at home with the child. Or maybe the child is buying a property and you're helping them get their first mortgage, right? There is a lot of different variations based on where you are in your life. But I think I quite like the fact that Mercury as the ruler is in the 1st house, because I think it's helping you be clear on what is important to you. And it's also encouraging you to honestly, directly communicate about what you want and what you seek and what's of value. Listen to me communicate to what is of value to me. My course, Predictive Astrology, begins in March 2026. Join us to learn how to forecast your future and set yourself up for success. This is on my website, and my year ahead readings are also currently discounted. You can learn more about that in the description. And do share how this resonates. If you are a Sagittarius rising, there's a full moon in your 7th house, the domain of relationships. Take a look back at late May in terms of, were there any new beginnings in your 7th house? A new relationship, a new business partnership. Maybe you started divorce proceedings, or, there's a lot of different new beginnings that can happen in the 7th house. The full moon brings completion, culmination, karmic shift, especially as it squares the North Node in the 4th. And the square to the North Node in the 4th, South Node in the 10th is suggestive of, North Node really brings a lot of focus to your home and family, to creating more comfort and peace and ease in your life, maybe to changing your living situation. And so the full moon can be inspired by that, right? If you're moving to a different country to be with your significant other, then there's a shift in the home and in a relationship. If you're getting divorced and your partner is leaving the house, there's a change in your house and in your relationship, right? So important kind of transformations are likely with this full moon. Maybe changes in your business, changes in your clientele, getting out of a contract that you've been in that maybe felt somehow frustrating, or even just the contract running its course and completing. The ruler of the full moon is Mercury in the 12th house, fresh from the retrograde. So it again points towards potentially moving, relocating, maybe healing, maybe talking about things that are uncomfortable, and kind of dealing with self-defeating tendencies and doubts that is sometimes represented by the 12th house transits. So let me know how this resonates. If you're seeking more, book a reading on my website. My year ahead reading is currently discounted. You could save $20 on the in-person consultation with a coupon code 2026, or $40 on the recorded reading in the shop section of my website, and join my predictive astrology course to learn what's coming up for you and how to forecast the future and how to become your own personal astrologer. If you are a Capricorn rising, we have a full moon in your 6th house and a square to the North Node in the 3rd, South Node in the 9th, and the ruler is Mercury in the 11th. So Mercury is fresh from its retrograde in your 11th house. It brought clarity in terms of your relationships, your friendships, your alliances, who you can trust, who you can network with, who you can rely on, as I said. changes in your dreams potentially, or just sort of refinement, right? Mercury is more about fine-tuning things. And so the full moon in the 6th highlights your house of work, health, and service, and encourages change there based on maybe what you've discovered your alliances are and who you can start partnerships with, or what you've revealed, what Mercury retrograde revealed to you about your dreams. Take a look back at the new moon in this house of your chart in late May. The full moon can bring an end to a difficult project. It can literally change your work situation. Maybe you're quitting, maybe you're getting a new job. There can also be changes in your health. Maybe you're getting out of some kind of period of just getting a lot of colds, or you had COVID and now you're like taking better care of yourself. A little bit more metaphorically, 6th house has to do with burdens and which burdens are worth carrying versus which ones are not. And here we're kind of getting in this interesting territory, right? Like burdens, for you, something might be a burden that for someone else is not, and vice versa. And so with the full moon in the 6th, in a square to North Node in the 3rd, you're kind of looking at your North Node in the 3rd wants you to be creative, and it wants you to write and speak and be a blogger or whatever it is you're desiring, right? Start your business. And so the full moon in the 6th is this very interesting time where you're like, do I still want to carry this? Or is it time to set it down? Is it time to disengage? Is it time to cut the cord? Literally or metaphorically. So there's some kind of opportunity for like rethinking of your habits, but also maybe your engagements and your heavy things you're carrying. Maybe you said yes to a friend who needed you to watch their dog, but the friend is taking advantage of you watching their dog for they said it's going to be a week, but they're like having fun on vacation. They decide to extend their vacation. It was supposed to be a week, but it's turning into a month. Time to talk about it. Time to set some boundaries, express your feelings. For more, visit my website to take advantage of my year ahead sale. You can save $20 on the in-person reading with the coupon code 2026, or $40 on the recorded one. It's in the shop and it's already discounted. And join my predictive astrology course. It begins in March 2026, and you will learn how to forecast your future. Don't forget to also get my 2026 planner. If you are an Aquarius rising, there's a full moon in your 5th house, and it is ruled by Mercury in the 10th and squares North Node in the 2nd, South Node in your 8th house. So the full moon completes the chapter started with the new moon in late May. What was happening in your creative life? What was happening in your romantic life? What was happening with your children at the time? The full moon can bring changes there. It can suggest a shift in your romantic relationship. Maybe you are wrapping things up because you thought it was going to be different than what it ended up being. You're maybe getting out of a relationship, or you're moving a relationship to the next level, committing to things, making things official. Maybe you got pregnant in the beginning of the year and now you're having a child. Maybe your child started applying for schools and now your child is getting ready to leave home, right? The full moon in the 5th, with the ruler being Mercury in the 10th, though, is interesting because Mercury being in the 10th, it has been retrograde for a while, and it has been encouraging you to look at your public life and what you're known for. And maybe you've been experiencing a little bit of confusion in your career, and so the full moon in the 5th is also making you wonder if there's a way to do work that is more fun, that is more playful and joyful. Or there's maybe a way to become a parent at work, whether it's because you're taking on more responsibility and you're starting to nurture your colleague children, or it's because you're using your ability to be a parent, if you're already a parent, to become a kindergarten teacher or to start your own kindergarten or something. So the full moon in the 5th, I think, is like a very interesting opportunity to transform your life, to bring more joy into it, and maybe to also release some beliefs, right? With Gemini, we can also talk about some clutter and some monkey mind mentality, or some ideas that maybe do not really serve you, because the full moon also squares North Node in your 2nd house and South Node in your 8th. And North Node in the 2nd really is urging you to explore your creativity and make money through more spiritual pursuits, and maybe build your wealth, and also learn that your wealth is not just about money in the bank, but also about how much you prioritize and value yourself. And so I think the full moon can suggest that there may be changes in relationships and partnerships and in your creative life, or in the life of your child, that come out of this increased self-awareness, that come out maybe of this willingness to take professional risks and begin new things. And if your professional trajectory is urging you to study astrology, join my course. We are tackling predictive astrology in March. In 3 months, we will learn forecasting techniques such as solar returns, annual perfections, transits, and you will learn how to forecast your future, which will set you up for success, help you avoid the obstacles and mistakes, and grow and become strong and empowered. You can also take advantage of my year ahead special and save on that. There is information in the description. If you are the lovely Pisces rising, there's a full moon in your 4th house. Changes in your home, family, and living situation. Take a look back at May 2025, when we had a new moon in your 4th house. What was happening? Have you moved in with your significant other? Have you started looking for a home? Have you started trying to sell your house? Did you discover that your sibling is pregnant, right? The full moon in the 4th can bring completion to all of that. You sell your house, you move in with someone, or you make things official in terms of moving in together. You move, you welcome a new member in the family. Something might be changing in the lives of your parents, right? Something might be changing around your sense of comfort and security. The ruler is Mercury in your 9th house. Mercury has been retrograde for a while, so Mercury is done with the retrograde, and it's a sign that you're gaining clarity in terms of where you see yourself, where you want to live, where you want to go. There might even be opportunities with Mercury in the 9th to move to a foreign country, right? Mercury takes you further. It's like, why not move not just within the same city, but like, how about moving states? How about moving countries? How about taking risks and leaps, right? I can also see this as, especially because the full moon squares North Node in the 1st and South Node in the 7th, I could see this as a chance. So like North Node in the 1st really wants you to take care of yourself. It wants you to trust in yourself. It wants you to let go maybe of self-critical, controlling part of yourself and commit to like following your dreams. And so the full moon in the 4th might also be like, what needs to change in your beliefs that you've inherited from your family, right? What needs to change in your living situation? What needs to change in your relationships with your family to allow more space for being truly yourself? If you have an answer, let me know in the comments below. For more, visit my website to book a reading, to join my predictive course, pick up my lovely manifestation candles, anything that is the moon, good for manifestation, exalted, moon in Cancer, almond moon. And I hope to see you studying with me. I hope to see some of your faces there. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Please subscribe if you haven't yet. Hype this video, share it with somebody you know. The growth on the YouTube is sometimes goes up, sometimes goes down. So I really appreciate you. I put a lot of work and love in these videos, and I am one person shop. I do everything myself, right? At this point. So any little things you can do is really, they will really help. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful full moon, and I will see you soon. Bye for now.